Okay, I'm back again to explain our systeming, our number systeming. So we have 369, the 3 pyramids in Egypt. That's what we're going to run off just to give you an idea. Now imagine invisible pyramids upside down filling that. So we have, in other words, 2 frequencies. Yes? Okay, so then we have 3 pyramids in Egypt, which give you universal patterns of energies, as I've just explained. Now, the number 3 is the 3-dimensional periods, plus the 4 points on the base equals 7. Okay. And then we go over here. The coordinates of Giza. So I've given you a breakdown. 12 on one side, 33 is 45. Break 4 and 5 is 9. It's a spiritual number. So the pyramids of light, divine spiritualness, right? Then here's another example, okay? So we have the tree of life. Now the tree of life is based with your roots, your trunk, your leaves. So air, water and earth. So we get air from the trees, water to water it, and its roots are embedded in the earth. So the other thing is, what you're seeing as a pattern here is 3, 6 and 9s are your foundation. So you will find them again over here. I've done the Atlantis coordinates. So the Atlantis coordinates, right, on the earth equals a 10. But if you divide it by 2, it equals 5, obviously. So there we have another number, 5. So obviously everything always relates back to between 1 and 9. Double digits are always added. So then we have, okay, nothing relates to all of us except for numbers. Now, how this terminology is actually shown is, okay, we've got the ancient Egyptians, Roman numerals. We have all religions have numbers. So if we want to go back in ancient times, they all had a numbering system. Now, the numbering system was not invented, it was found. Okay? So if the numbering system was found and everything else was created, they're our foundations. So all structures add to 3, 6 or 9, or 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 8, right? So the pyramids, the Greek, the Hindu, Jesus, biblical terms, Sumerian, Mayans, the Romans, and spiritual is the main one underlined, right? So all these religions are great, but without the spiritual connection, the wisdom of linking it all is just not there. So then we have, as another example, okay, we have logical and non-logical, dark and light, yin and yang, negative and positive energies, your subconscious, your conscious, they all add up to 2, don't they? So 2, 2, 2 and 2 are 6. Then we have your mental, emotional, physical and spiritual. Now these are the basics of what you need to get through for your ascension. Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, which all basically is what we got there. So these 4 points, again, 4 and 6 gives you 10 divided by 2 is a 5, right? So this is my little breakdown of just an idea on how this one works. So now I'm going to, if you hold up 2 seconds, I'm going to go into the 7s, right? Okay, so here we are. Right. So, all right, for example, we have, this is how we all relate, okay? So we have 7 in the Bible. Sorry, this is really hard to figure this out. A 7 in the Bible, It's just so hard to write and hold this camera. A 7 in the Bible, we have 7 tablets, the copper tablets that were found in ancient times. We have the seventh commandment. So I'm just writing these down and then I'll explain something. Mind my writing. It's probably not. Okay. I'm just giving you a brief example. I've got pages here. Colour. Then we have all right. Sorry. All right, so this is an example, right? So you can do this with all numbers. So, all right. 7 is a 3 plus 4, okay? So 3 and 4 are our base numbers. Right, so we go 7, it's in the Bible, right? There's 7 tablets and, Egyptian, I think it was Mayan, not 100%. The Catholic, then there was, for example, we've got a 7 commandment, we've got 7 in law of attraction, 7 in colour, a 7 in spiritual, your chakras, 7th angel number, Jesus, 7 days, 7 planets. Now, so say for example, I've just given you in a relation to explain how we're all connected by numbers. So doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what your interests are, they're all related in numbers. So say for example, you wake up and it's 3:40 in the morning, okay? Say you're religious. So 3 and 4 is 7, or, okay, so here's 2 different ways. You could look up 7 in the Bible or a biblical number, or you could look up page 3, verse 4, right? If that was a number that you were seeing all the time, you could look up page 3, verse 4, or 7 in the Bible. Say if you weren't religious and you were spiritual, you'd look up the angel number. The angel number, either 7 or 34. Or if it's 340, it would be 340. It just depends on what it is, what religion you're in. So then we have, the 7th chakra, 7th colour. So if you're spiritual, you obviously know that 7 would relate to your numbering system, which is chakras, the tarots, etc. If you were Hindu, same thing. You would look it up in your terminology of things. Say if, again, if you're an astrologist, you'd look up the 7th planet, you'd look up the 7th day, the 7th month, that kind of a thing. So it doesn't matter what religion you're in or what your belief is, even if you didn't believe in any of that, but you were just a mathematician. So you would just look at how you're intrigued by the numbering system. So then say, for example, you go to the shop. I always do this, and I'll look at my receipts. I'll look at my receipt balance, add up your receipt balance to see what number you brought. For example, I went and brought this whiteboard, and my receipt added up added up to a 7. Okay, so that's why I started off with a 7 today, because mine added up to a 7. So, but that was for something that I got to help other people. So you can do it with receipts. You can do it with number plates. You can do it with anything. I have eagles continuously around, so I add up and I look into the number systems of the birds. So then the birds then relate. If I'm not sure, say if I see 2 and 3, I'll look up the number 23 in an angel number meaning. Then I'll look up page 2, verse 3 in the Bible. Then I'll look into the biblical. I'll look into all of them, and you always make your own interpretation. Everyone's meaning and definitions aren't the same, and it's what resonates for you. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing is, you might say to someone, okay, like for example here, in my painting, I have a 22, which is my master number, and 5. Now, these are my, a part of my numerology, I guess. So 2 and 2 is 4, and 5, that's 9, right? So for me, I am all about looking into all types of how we're connected, not just religion, not just this, not just that. And that's the same with, I like to look at it in a bigger version of the Key of Solomon. Again, yes, everything comes down to belief. As long as you have faith in what you believe in, no matter what it is. Don't be judgmental of other people's beliefs, because at the end of the day, if you go back to basics and balanced structures, without belief and without being confident in what you do, you are unable to build these other structures, right? And so then we have that. So then this is my terminology of, how things relate. So your main basic for ascension are your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Now, this can relate in a lot of ways, because obviously you have the number 4. Now, there's lots of things that, you can take off to the mental. All right, so in the mental, that's your subconscious and conscious. Logical, non-logical. You need both for everything. Okay, so it starts within. So ascension, it starts with mental acknowledgement. Sorry, I can't spell too well, but you know what I mean. Acknowledgement. So acknowledgement of your faults. Acknowledgement of your faults. So then that's when it comes to acknowledgement of faults, addressing them after you acknowledge them. Then there's, I guess, lots of different words I could use. Acknowledgement, addressing them, action. Oh, sorry. Thought and action, I guess. So, sorry, my messy writing. So, the mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. So, acknowledgement. So, say, say for example, I'm a really mean person, and everyone tells you this, but you don't believe it. So until you address and acknowledge that, shit, you've got no friends because you're a mean person, until you address it, acknowledge that, then address it, and then look at how you address it. So we address everything through our subconscious which is generally something that you have drilled into you from your childhood. So we come down to our subconscious and logical mind, okay? Which everything in your subconscious and emotional mind comes out in your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Now, without having balance, sorry guys, without having balance of all, so without having balance of all of these, your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotion, it's hard for ascending. It makes everything hard. So not only ascending, but I mean, that's the main reason why we're here, is to ascend. Now, if you can't love if you don't love yourself. It starts with you. Oh God. Okay. So without loving yourself, you can't love others or other people, or anything that you do. It's like clouded judgment. So say, for example, I have an issue with being jealous, okay? So I have issues with being jealous. I'm not able to address it. Everyone else is. But because everything else about me is fine, for example, you're a good person, you just have jealous issues with your partners. Now that is a subconscious problem, because that's something that's either happened to you from a child, or it's been embedded in your subconscious from other people saying or doing things, or something that's happened to you. So without working out the root problem of what is your problem, and then obviously you got to address it to then work it out. So once you address your problem, you work it out. When you have, for example, a jealous problem, okay, you're unable to live with your 7 godly consciences, the 7 chakras being open, the pillar of light, without having all the blockages removed, which is removing the dark energies, negative and positive. You then become depressed. So if you're unable to address what it is that is bothering you, you become more darker or lower in frequency, depending on what terminology you want to use. So the more unblocked you are, and the more open you are to change, the more you get fragments of yourself back. You become more happy. You're living your soul purpose because you're positively happy, clear-minded, you're determined, okay? And these all come from having balance, structure, and open-mindedness, right? So as soon as your mind is clouded by jealousy or hate or violence or anything like that, you become lower in frequency, right? So when you become lower in frequency, you then become lower and lower again. It's hard to filter through any light because nothing's flowing through. It's just coming up the bottom and it's sitting in your stomach, kind of. So without you having all judgments, all blockages, and all root core problems removed and subconsciously fixed, which you can do by daily affirmations of positive thoughts. It does work. I've used it. I was a very negative person and it works, I'm telling you. So this is just a basis of my interpretation. Whether or not that was enough for you today, I just it's just so complex that it's really hard for me to get it all in one. And obviously I wiped the whiteboard down, and we did that twice, rewriting it, but that's just really hard. So I'm thinking I'm just going to do a whiteboard a day to try and help you guys with that. And if you want anything in particular you want to actually have an understanding or a breakdown of, religions, numbers, how the numbering system works, which I'm pretty sure that I've given you the basic rundown. Now, if you want to have an idea of how that works connected in the spiritual term or religious term, any questions, just shoot me the questions and I'll give it to you on a whiteboard. All right, thanks for that.